DJ Middle Craig of Craig's Mills from here, and I have one of the members of Dripping, New Jersey with me today. Hey, how's it going? Would you like to introduce yourself and what position you do in the band?
Hey Craig, how are you? It's great that you're having us and me. I'm Sebastian. I'm the founder and guitarist of Dripping.
Please go back in the history of Dripping and how the band all got started.
The drip. Well, I'm gonna try to make it short. It's pretty long. Dripping was started. I worked at a guitar center and I met Bruce, our original drummer. And Bruce and I were kind of just talking metal. He had a Morbid Angel shirt on. I think I was wearing an At the Gate shirt on. And he asked me if I was in a band. I said, yeah, I'm in a band. We're called Drown in Blood, but the drummer's kind of flaky. And he's like, well, I play drums. Do you want to jam? And I said, sure. He picked me up that same day from Guitar Center. And we started jamming on some Drown in Blood songs. And Drown in Blood was more melodic death metal, sort of like Necrophobic, At the Gates, Dissection. And he was like, hey man, are you into the brutal side of death metal, you know? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, absolutely. He's like, do you want to do something more brutal? So I think we took some Drown in Blood riffs and we wrote Cadaverman songs. We did Cadaverman for a while, put out two demos, and then we decided to, um, I think the guttural bands were coming out of Texas and California, and I think we first heard the Disgorge and Devourment tapes, demo tapes. Bruce was the thing for that because I wasn't aware those bands existed. So I think he showed me maybe a Devourment CD or something with guttural vocals. And he goes, what? Well, I want to move towards that direction. I want to do something more brutal. He's like, but I want to keep our style sort of like Jersey, you know? And we always worship Rip Corpse. And we tried to try to do like a mesh of, if you hear the first Dripping demos, they're less abstract than the album. By the time we got to the album, Bruce was totally into jazz and a lot of the abstract stuff, which he blended into the music. And that's sort of how we came about. He was good friends with Tom, and he said, Tom comes with me. Tom comes to every band that I play in. So the three of us kind of did Dripping. We had floating members coming in and out, but for the most part, the three of us recorded the LP that came out in 2001, Disintegration of Thought Patterns During a Synthetic Mind Travel and Bliss.
Still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was just checking. Are you good on the question?
That's as far as it goes up to 2001, and we disbanded and we got back together in 2023. But 2023, it's been a different lineup. I reached out to Bruce. He he respectfully turned it down. So did Tom. So I had some friends that I met here in Florida because I live in Florida now, and we started Dripping. Out of that lineup, the only one that stuck around with me was Ed. Ed's been sort of like this one of the guys who we've been through several lineups since 2023. Trying to find the right guys is a tough time, but now we finally have a good set of guys that are sticking with me. Sammy is on drums. We have Hubert on bass. We have Ed playing guitars. We are we are we have Devin from Sanga Sugarbug on vocals, but he's really busy touring in Europe. At the current moment, Angel's been doing vocals for us. He played the last two shows that we played, and we're really tuned in. Just about 2 years coming back, and we're finally a full-time band, which feels amazing.
How did you guys come up with the band name Dripping?
Okay, so that was very easy. Bruce and I worship Ripping Corpse, so we're like, well, we can't call it Ripping. And I think think his and my favorite Cryptopsy band was Dead and Dripping. one of the early Cryptopsy songs. And I'm sure you're a fan, being a Canadian. So we were like, okay, let's just call it Dripping. So it was sort of like half ripping instead of ripping corpse. We called it Dripping. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Who
Yeah.
designed the dripping band logo?
So I don't know. It was a high school kid at the time, back in 22, 20, yeah, sorry, in 2000. So some high school kid designed the logo, and I don't really know where he is at the moment. And then another fan revamped it, which is the logo we trademark. We trademark now is the old school dripping logo. There's been a couple of people who took a stab at it. It's been redesigned and redone several different times.
Being based out of Clifton, New Jersey to start, how did you feel being part of the New Jersey scene?
At the time, the New Jersey scene wasn't big when we first started, especially when we started with Cadaverman in '98. We were playing small bars, small venues, and not a lot of people wanted to give us an opportunity. Roy Fox from Necker Harmonic was one of the first ones that gave us an opportunity to, sorry, to play the local bar where we would hang out at. And then we played some local shows and throughout the Northeast. We did some small little runs through the Northeast with, we played some shows with Eternal Suffering, the Red Chord. We played CBGBs. We got to play the iconic CBGBs. We played Wetlands. We at the time we played with Lamb of God. We played with Cryptopsy. We also got to play with Dying Fetus, Deeds of Flesh on that one tour they were on. But New Jersey was just very, very small and segregated. You had the elite death metal people, and then you had the new age of death metal that we were quote unquote considered, and it wasn't too accepted at the time, I would say. Um, I know South Jersey was a different ballgame, but for us in North Jersey, it was tough. Just playing small venues.
Okay. Having relocated to Florida, what made you decide to take dripping to this part of the US?
Um, I just relocated to Florida, uh, just for personal reasons. My wife and I decided that we didn't want to live in the cold anymore. And we had the opportunity with her working in Florida. We just said, screw it, let's relocate to Miami. And that's how I found the newer Dripping members. I went to a mortician show to actually see Will. I haven't seen Will in a very long time. And, Will, definitely one of our brothers. Um, that's kind of where I met the guys that we reformed Dripping with at that mortician show. But yeah, just relocated to Miami because of weather. Got sick of the cold in the Northeast.
I know how it feels to be sick of the cold. We get up to when we get our yellow warnings for weather up here, we get minus 51 Celsius with wind chill.
Minus 51 Celsius. Wow. Yeah, I was talking to my daughter because she still lives in New England, and she was telling me last week it was below 10 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius. That's that's cold. Too cold for my old ass.
This next one's a really good one. What are the band's immediate music career goals?
So pretty much our goals as a band, we're focused on right now we're really focused on recording the second album, and we really want to give the fans the second album that they've been waiting. Trying to stay within our style, and after the second album, we're just gonna tour and we're just gonna play everywhere. We're just gonna tour the world. We just want to make sure that we please our fan base and put on a good show for everybody that stayed loyal following us.
You okay with that question?
Yeah, yeah, that's about it.
Who are the band's musical influences?
Okay, there are lots. I wish some of the guys were able to get on, but I didn't let them know in time. Um, it's different for me because I'm old, so I don't really listen to any newer. brutal death metal, or I'm not really into that slam death metal. My influence are weird. I'm into Van Halen. I like, obviously Rip Corpse. I listen to a lot of black metal and a lot of black and death metal, a lot of melodic death metal. As far as for dripping, if we were to take some influences, I would say Rip Corpse, Cynic, um, super early Disgorge, Malevolent Creation, some of the early Malevolent albums. And I listen to a lot of thrash, you know. I love Solstice. I mean, I'm a musical salad. If you ask me, we can go from Pink Floyd to Marauder. I'm not really locked into brutal death metal genre. I don't listen to brutal death metal. I don't listen to lots of I can't keep up anymore. There's 1,000 bands. I listen to most of the legacy or legendary bands, like Cryptopsy. I love Necrophobic. That's sort of our influences come from pretty much anything.
I understand you there. I've been a fan of the music scene since I was in my, since I heard Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time back in '86.
Same here.
I said I heard Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time back in 1986. That's what got me started into music.
Oh yeah, I actually seen them on that tour. Seen them live. I think what got me into music was my father found the Creative in the garbage at Creative Records, and it had Van Halen 2, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, uh, stuff like that. And those are my uh, early stuff that I was listening to. A lot of AC/DC, Beastie Boys as well. Just, you know, uh, a lot of Van Halen. I'm a huge Van Halen fan.
Okay, cool. With Limp Splitter 3 compilation having just come out, which bands did you perform with on this compilation?
Which song?
No, which band did you perform with on the compilation? Like
Oh,
if you,
so that compilation is Fisted, Sect of Execration. Jesus, I don't remember. There's four bands on there. I don't remember the other band. Sorry. I know it's
oh,
Fisted, Sect of Execration, and there's another band. I can probably look it up for you.
okay, take a second to look it up. I'm fine with that, buddy.
Okay,
I'm gonna grab a sip of coffee while you're doing that.
sounds good. Yeah, so we have the Splitter 3 compilation. Uh, so we got Dripping, Sect of Execration, Fisted, Brutal Torment. That's the third band. Yeah, sorry about that.
All good,
And
man.
it's on Oshuari Industries. The brother Brian uh, did a great job on this compilation, and we're so pleased to be on it and very thankful he asked us to be part of it. It's an iconic release. It's
If you're cool with it, we're gonna jump into one of the songs you did off the compilation that was my favorite on the album. But
Yes,
please talk
sir.
about the concept behind this song, Chariot of the Forsaken track you did on this splitting compilation.
So the song is pretty much about chariots of the forsaken gods. It's about spaceships, right? Chariots of the gods. I was watching Ancient Aliens one day, and they were showing all types of vehicles that the extraterrestrials were using. And as they were showing these vehicles, they were also telling stories of how extraterrestrials would use these vehicles to come down to Earth. And they were found in, sorry, vehicles that were actually depicted and drawn by Indians that have seen them on stones and like Mayan temples and Aztec temples. So that song is about extraterrestrial vehicles, pretty much. And I call them the Forsaken Gods because that they were looked upon as if they were demons, sort of by the ancient civilizations that had communication with the aliens. That's what that song's about.
Right on. This next one's going to get you really thinking a little bit. What are your opinions on artificial intelligence used for music and album art?
Okay, I don't mind growing with the times. Um, this is a good one. I don't mind growing with the times. And like the new Deicide album came out on AI cover. I don't mind. I'm not that guy who's like, oh, you can't use AI art. I typically would not use it for dripping. I don't like music being created by AI. I'm a fan of natural music, music with feeling, and music that comes from the soul. And that's why dripping is the way we are. We're very abstract. We don't use metronomes. We don't use triggers in the studio. We only use triggers live. We typically try not to use click tracks. We try to do everything organic, and we follow the same protocol that Hendrix did. So dripping never plays this. We play the same songs, but we never play them the same. So if you catch us one night live, maybe Ed and I will do different harmonies. I know Sam will probably will stay. We're going to stay in the pocket with the changes, but Sam will play a different beat in that part, and it's sort of like we don't purposely do it, but we try to give the fans and the listeners a different vibe each show, where we would improvise certain parts. Not too much of it, but you're never going to catch us playing the same song exactly the same. It, the structure is the same, but for instance, Sam will throw in a different beat, which will make it different for that night. You know what I mean? And I don't, back to your question, not to go down the rabbit hole. I don't mind AI. I guess it's the tool, and it's eventually going to grow to probably kill humanity. I don't like it in music. I don't mind if people use it in their artwork. I don't prefer to use it in my artwork. But I wouldn't chastise the band and crucify them and say, "Oh my God, they use AI." If the music is good, I don't care if the album cover has been drawn on toilet paper. No big deal to me.
Right on. We'll be back in just a second with you, Sebastian. I've got to
Yeah.
set the recorder up for a second part.
Okay.